Welcome to the Unit 2B review. Thank you for being so good to our sub today. Today's homework is to just do the evens. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and so on. The first part says rounding a fractional answer. And so what I would focus on for number 2 is actually knowing how to do it. Go through an example maybe, 2.546, and let's say that you're going to round to the tenths place. Remember that you have to look to the number behind it. If it's 5 or better, it rounds up. In this case, it would be 2.55. For number 4, it is knowing the hundredths place. So 0.2468. Which one is in the hundredths place? Remember, we go tenths, hundredths. So the 4 is in the hundredths place. Number 6 says the ones place. So an example would be 3.54. Which one is the ones place? The ones place is right there. So number 8. On number 8, it's asking about the hundreds place. Now be careful, it's not hundredths. It does not have a THS. So that means that it's going to be, say something like this. Here is our ones place. We go ones, tenths, hundreds. So this would be our hundreds place. And that's how we would solve number 8. Now let's take a look at number 10. For number 10, we need to get r by itself. So this I'm going to have to get by itself. My first step, I'm going to minus 11. Because that is the inverse of plus 11. So I'm going to minus 11 from both sides. That would leave me with 5r. Positive 11 minus 11 is 0. Is equal to 29. And then to get r completely by itself, I would divide by 5. This is going to give me r is equal to 29 divided by 5. Let me grab my calculator. 29 divided by 5 gives me 5.8. Number 12. On number 12, we need to solve for x. So I can notice that I've got an x value on both sides. I got an x value here and an x value here. So I want to get them on one side. And to do that, I'm going to add 9.8x add those together. That's going to give me 13.6x minus 10.6 is equal to 8.1. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 10 to both sides. 10.6. That gives me 13.6x is equal to 18.7. Then the last thing I'm going to do to get x completely by itself is to divide by 13.6. Over here that cancels, leaving me with x equals 1.375. Now in the above it asked us to round to the nearest tenths place. So 1.375, if we're going to round that to the tenths place, here is the tenths place. I would go 1 behind, and that's bigger than 5. So I'm going to round this to 1.4. On number 14, I can see that we have an absolute value, and knowing that this is the absolute value, I know that I'm going to have two answers. So I'm going to start by writing out 8x minus 5 is equal to 13. That'll be my positive answer. Now to get my negative answer, I'm going to have 8x minus 5 is equal to negative 13. Then I'm going to solve one at a time. So to solve this one here, I'm going to start by adding 5 to both sides. That would give me 8x equals 18. Then, to get x completely by itself, I'm going to divide by 8. X is going to be equal to 2 2/8, which is a quarter. Or if you did it as a decimal, that would be x is equal to 2.25. Now I'm going to go over to the negative one. I'm going to add 5 again to both sides. That's going to give me 8x is equal to negative 8. Divide both sides by 8. I get x is equal to negative 1. So my two answers, here's one, and there's the other. And that's how you do the absolute value for number 14. On number 16, we're going to have to solve for w. So what I have here is 2w plus 9v is equal to 3. So here is my w. I need to get this by itself. So I'm going to get rid of, I'm going to do the opposite of plus 9v. So I'm going to minus 9v. And if you do it to one side, you have to do it to the other. So I would get 2w equals 9v minus 9v is 0. Then I would have 3 minus 9v. Now, to get w by itself, I'm going to divide by 2. That would give me w is equal to 3 minus 9v all over 2. Now, to get the final answer, I'm going to do the pretzel method. 3 over 2 is the same as 1.5. And then negative 9 divided by 2 would be a negative 4.5 v. And that would be your final answer for number 16. Number 18. The area of a rectangle is given by A is equal to LW, which means area is equal to length times width. Solve the formula for L and tell what the length of the rectangle is when the area is 56 square feet and the width is 9 feet. Please round your answer to the hundredths place. So, let's fill in the information that we have. Do we have the area? Well, yes, the area was given right there. So I'm going to start out with 56 equals. Do we have the length? And the answer is no, we don't have the length. So I'm going to put L. And do we have the width? And the width is given in the story problem. Now all we have to do is solve for L. So instead of timesing by 9, we're going to divide each side by 9. This gives us L is equal to 56 divided by 9. 6.2 repeating. 6.2 repeating. Now, in the answer, they want you to round to the hundredths place. So here's our ones, tenths, hundreds. The number behind that would be a 2 because it is repeating. So it would not round up. Our answer would just remain L is equal to 6.22. And our unit on this one is feet. The last one here is number 20, and it says in this place below, explain why the iceberg is a good analogy to use when referring to solving absolute value equations. Please use the equation absolute value of the quantity x minus 3 equals 5 to show what you mean. Well, in an iceberg, we have the water, then you have some part that's sticking up, you also have some part that's sticking down. So, with our iceberg, we have a positive side and we have our negative side, which is much like the absolute value. You know, if you have the absolute value of x and it equals 5, you have two answers. You have positive 5 that x could equal, and you also have a negative 5 that x could equal. And that's why we use the analogy. If I was to solve this, I'd have absolute value of x minus 3 equals 5. And then I would start out by saying, well, this is x minus 3 equals 5. And then my second equation to get my negative answer would be x minus 3 equals negative 5. So then I would add 3 to both sides. That would give me x equals 8. So that would be my positive. Then I would add 3 to both sides. That would be x equals a negative 5 plus 3 more would be negative 2. And that would be my negative answer. And that's why we use iceberg as an example. That concludes the Unit 2B test review. Good luck.